Hello, my name is David Amata, and this is my first-person shooter level for Far Cry 4, called Tower's Gauntlet. The core design philosophy behind this level is versatility and how the player wants to approach combat. Because of this, the level is divided into two separate paths that converge. Each path either emphasizes close quarters or long-range combat. In this first section, I provide the player with the instruments they'll need to succeed: a shotgun, a sniper rifle, and a good amount of ammo. It's important to note that while these weapons are recommended, the rifle and pistol the player starts out with are enough to succeed. This first hilly slope allows the player to build up a pace with a few enemies and a general sense of direction of where to head next. The tower in the distance acts as a constant reminder of the objective and a signpost of where to go. Entering into this first central arena gives the player a good balance of medium-range combat. The environment is laid out so that the player can use the natural cover to evade fire and defeat the approaching enemies. Strategic placement of explosive barrels gives fast players the opportunity to quickly dispatch a few enemies before they know your position. The central pool of water acts as an effective evasive maneuver to get around the flanks of enemies. After the central arena, the paths diverge into two tracks, left and right. For the first playthrough, I will go through the right, towards the long-range cliffs. The right path focuses on dramatic changes in verticality and long-range combat with a group of snipers. You as a player need to use cover effectively while still advancing forward to be successful. Here I employ some of Far Cry's more unique mechanics like zip lines and climbing. It was important to me that the player could navigate this section through bounding from cover to cover with more close quarters strategy. After defeating the enemies and reaching the height of the cliff, I provide a breather and some ammo so that the player can scope out the next area. The player can scope out some enemies to pinpoint them on the map, or better yet, pick off a few of them and cause a big distraction to hide your advance. Now the player could dive into the water below to climb up the waterfall, but the most fun way to get across this gap is through my favorite Far Cry mechanic, the wingsuit.
Got them down! Moving! I am going to burn you alive! Neutralize the threat! Taking a higher position!
Landing on the rooftops of the temple gives you an immediate advantage of the high ground to attack the troops below. Don't get too comfortable, as enemies will climb up the ladder to attack your position. If you get overwhelmed, you can use the zipline to quickly make it to the other side of the arena and lose your tail. In a quick reversal of fortune, you can commandeer the heavy machine gun and lay into your attackers with vicious force and explosive effectiveness. As a final challenge, two heavily armored soldiers descend from the tower, but concentrated fire is more than enough to take them. To finish the level, the player ascends the stairs to reach the tower. This acts as a final wow moment for the player's success.
He's got control of the MP! Hold the line!
For this next playthrough, let's take a look at what would have happened if I chose to go to the left instead of the right. Much as before, the level begins on this central path.
Hey! Was that a gunshot? You there! Alarm hood! Dog! I'll put you down! I'm proud to die for my country. Moving! Quickly! I'm gonna put just another scar! Got me. Fire at will! I die for my king.
This left path begins with high cliffs and a dense forest. Here the shotgun's range is emphasized, but like the right path, your standard assault rifle will also work. This is all about allowing the player choice to tackle objectives. After exiting the central path, the player enters into an area I call the Wolf's Den. This is obvious for a variety of reasons, including the wolves themselves and the aesthetic statues that are featured. Here the player must deal with a highly aggressive enemy in tight corridors. This makes the shotgun especially recommended. Once again, I provide another ammo stash for the player to reload and recharge. Beyond the Wolf's Den, the player now approaches the central arena not by air, but below through the use of water. The grapple hooks around the cliffside act as strategic entry points for the player to make their attack. The small house acts as an effective cover point to make your assault. If the player gets overwhelmed, the river that partially surrounds the arena acts as cover for the player to swim around to the other side. The boat at the mouth of the river allows you to advance up the middle without being too exposed. Continuing down the river to the right side allows you to safely make it to the temple to gain the high ground. From here, you can finish off the confused enemies from above.
You're just more! Come out and let me kill you! The enemy is here! I'm gonna charge! Moving! Don't stop firing!
As you can see, there are a variety of ways to tackle this level, each emphasizing a core strength of Far Cry 4, which are a versatile arsenal, diverse traversal mechanics, and an aggressive and adaptive AI. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the level. When I return, I will focus on tweaking the balance and applying the environmental design effects to make the location come to life.